raccoons are going at it, and if you've never heard it, it sounds like they're trying to kill each other, which has these girls freaked a little bit. So we'll see just how effective this is. But this is a little warm-up that I came up with for my first Mustang Pepper to just help connect with her and help her relax. And I was having some trouble with this lady. This is Juniper. She's a 5-year-old Mustang. And I thought she was a little further along than she actually was. So I decided to take a step back and try this warm-up with her too. And the bugs are coming out. And this warm-up has been really effective for helping her as well. She's super friendly. She has no problem around humans, but she does lack some self-confidence. And I've noticed that this warm-up just kind of helps put her in a relaxed state and a knowing state. So yeah, see, I don't know if we can get a little closer here, but anyway, sweetie, just a couple things I want to point out before we get started so you kind of know what to look for on your horse. But I'm going to start up on her head. Hey, come here, darling. And I'll flip to the other side. So their TM joint up here where their jaw connects to the skull is right behind the eye. So if you find this hard nodule right here, it's a bump. There's almost kind of like a divot and a little triangle right here, right between that nodule and their eye. So you want to put your fingers right there on that spot. That's the TM joint. That's where I'm going to start. Another spot on their face that you can work on is right here in front of their eye, and it sort of naturally slopes down, so just follow that. And if you notice or watch, horses will sometimes rub that part of their face on their legs, and that's because there's a gland in here that helps release endorphins. So this is another way that you can help them relax. She's really on edge with the raccoons, so we'll give this a go. But this is her less confident side. So I'm going to be starting on her other side and work over to this one. So yeah. I know. These are scary little sounding monsters. And for Juniper, I'm just going to move my robot away here. For Juniper, she really is comforted by touch, so this is great for her. And anytime she does the right thing, here, that's a good girl, I will come up here and rub her forehead. And that's her reward and how she knows that she gave me the correct response. So we'll start with that TM joint on this side. And I'm just going to apply pressure with 2 fingers. It's a very light pressure. I'm pretty much just coming in contact with the skin. So maybe a couple ounces, and that's it. I'm a little out of breath because I was trying to chase away the raccoon, so I need to bring my energy down too. But just gonna wait. I'm gonna take a deep breath. And this typically will take 1 to 2 minutes, so don't rush it. Just go with this is about going with your horse and what they need. So there'll be times where I go through this process 2 or 3 times with them in a row, and I might spend half an hour doing it. But the cool thing is every time that you repeat it, it's almost like you're peeling away another layer. And I'm probably not going to get as big of a release to start here because of what was going on a few minutes ago. So I'm going to try and just take a smaller change in tension here. I'll just stay with her. That was good. So now when she brings her head down, I'm going to move my fingers back to her pole just behind her ear here. Raccoons birds are messing around in the trees. That's what she's looking at. So I'm just gonna, again, trying not to focus on that. Just focusing on, you know, what we're doing in the moment here. I don't care what those guys are doing over there. They have nothing to do with us. And the cool thing about this is you're also starting to teach your horse that you are the baseline. And the more you do this, the faster they understand to sync up with you. Oh, girl. So now I'm going to start running my hand, I've got a really big mane, down her neck here. And I'm going to go pretty slow, especially, oh, she just licked and chewed, so that was really nice. I was just going to say, when you start doing this the first time with your horse, go really slow. And what you're looking for is any time that they show a sign of tension. So whether they bring their head up, you know, slow their breathing, stop blinking, tighten the jaw. Typically that means you've landed on a point of tension within their body. And all you're doing by putting your I barely have any contact here. You're just bringing attention to it. And they figure it out. And then they're like, oh, I did have something going on there. So now you're also showing your horse that you know how to cue in to their very subtle language. And then you gain that much more value with your horse because your horse goes, they understand me. And that's how you can really start to develop that subtle relationship with them. And again, that ties into bugs. That ties into them being able to sync up with your energy faster. So if you're in a stressful situation, or the horse is in a stressful situation, I'm going to keep moving my hand here, but you are calm, they'll pick that up faster. So I've done this with her over the course of the last 2 weeks, so I've kind of figured out where her points are, and she typically, that one in the middle of her neck there is pretty common. So I'm going to back up. No, don't go towards the camera. Back her up here in a second. But again, like I said, the first time you're doing this, you're really learning you're learning about your horse. So it's very exploratory. So you want to be very thorough and slow to figure out where is your horse holding tension. So right now I'm right at the top of the scapula, just like between the scapula and the withers on this side. And I'm going to take my other hand and connect, you know what, see if I can turn her without losing too much integrity here. Hi baby, can you back up just a little bit and turn? I know, good girl. It's okay. Good girl, that works. Okay, maybe, yeah. So I've got my hand right here. Now I'm going to take this hand and connect the point and then start bringing it down the front edge of the scapula here. And the shoulder typically is a really big point of tension because they don't have collarbones. So everything in here is suspended by ligaments and soft tissue and muscle. It's really easy for all of that to get bound up. And remember to be very intentional about your breathing. It's almost like meditating. So a lot of people hold their breath and they don't realize it. And horses will tune into that. Taking a lot of intentional deep breaths is really helpful while you're doing this. And it's super relaxing for me too. I just enjoy doing this with my horses. It's almost kind of like having a joint, it's like yoga. I would almost say horse yoga. So now that I'm at the point of her shoulder here, so I introduced this with her because I was having a hard time getting her to pick up her feet in a calm and balanced way. She just had a lot of tension in her body, so she would kind of stiffen up when I try and ask her to balance on 3 legs. So using this method and melding it in with asking for her feet worked really well. So now I'm going to keep going down her leg here. And I'm going to run my hand down the back of her leg, just kind of wrapping it around. I'm not really applying much pressure, just making her cognizant that I'm here. And I do want her to pick up that foot. Give her her foot back to the moment because I want to reward that. So I'll come back up here. But there actually is an exercise that you're going to do with each leg, again, to help get them to relax. I'm just going to get this out of our way here. Okay, so we'll try it again. Like I said, feet's still a little bit of in the works with her. Pepper does this really well. Okay, good. I want to make sure we're still in frame. So you're going to start, oh, good girl, with just kind of rocking the leg back and forth very gently, because they do have lateral flexion here. So you're helping kind of pull that shoulder out and away and loosen it. And then you can do small circles in each direction. She's having a hard time balancing, so I don't want to keep it up too much longer. And then what you'll finish with is bringing it forward. And then all you're waiting for, oh, good girl, is exactly what she did there. I hope I wasn't blocking it. But you're not really looking to pull the leg out too much. You're there to support the leg as it's coming out. And then you wait for them to sort of release the leg towards you. And then you just gently set that leg back down. And that's really helping free up the shoulder. Girl, that was a really good stretch. Okay, so after you do that leg, then you just I usually bring my hand back up to the point here and start working along the back. She's already fixated still on what was going on over there, so it's like, not going to really get much of a read here, but that's okay. I just kind of I want you to be able to see the map here. So a lot of the times back here in her lumbar area, she is tense. So I'm just going to rest my fingers here for a minute. Oh, nice. Now, sometimes they might do this. It's not a bad thing. She just used her body the way she needed to in order to get the release. So, it's like sometimes we have to do that. We have to move or stretch or, yeah, she shook her head there. So that was good. Hi. Oh, and there's a raccoon running down the driveway now. How fun. Okie dokie then. Moving on. So I'm going to continue down her butt here. And usually back here somewhere, around the hamstring, she's got something, so I'll pause and wait. Now we're just looking for our friend because we're concerned. So I'm going to bring her back over here. It's okay, baby doll. All right, so we'll try that again. Good girl. Oh, hey phone, over here. There we go. Okay. Oh, my phone is not cooperating. do it now. Okay, I'm going to try and go on her other side here without my phone losing track of me. That works too. Right that over there. So I have a little emergency line. This works. Okay. Anyways, as we were saying, from her butt here, once I've kind of released that lumbar area, I'll keep running my hand down this side of her butt, so not down the center of her spine. Hi, sweetie. Good girl. And usually right about here, I think this is where the hamstrings are, she can be a little tight. I'll pause here and take a couple deep breaths. Springtime, man. Lots of stuff going on. I don't really feel like I'm going to get anything from this spot, so I'll keep going past the point of the hip here. I think this might actually be the hamstrings, where I'm headed now, like down the leg. I think this is more the glutes. A little bit there. Oh, you can't see her head, darn it. She's kind of twitching her lip. And we got mosquitoes trying to eat us alive. It's just a good time out here. Oh, there she goes. So she dropped her neck down. So I'll keep going. And again, she knows this pattern, which was also a really nice way to help her get more comfortable with her picking up her feet, because she understood. Good girl. She understood what was coming, so she had time to anticipate in the right way to prepare for what was coming next. And when a horse knows, a horse won't be worried. I'm going to ask for this foot real quick. Good girl. So this has been her problem. She likes to suck it up a lot because she's got a tight psoas muscle. So I just kind of hold it and I'll set that down. I don't want to take advantage of her offering that. That was really nice. Now I'm going to ask for that foot again. And this time I'm actually going to bring it up. So this is how you can help release the psoas muscle, by supporting the leg and bending it a little bit. So that psoas muscle is really deep here in the hip. Like you can't get to it from the surface. So this is a good way to help release it. And another thing, if you do have a problem with them picking up their back feet, stretching that psoas muscle a little bit and then dropping their foot down and bringing it out a lot of times will eliminate some problems with asking for those hind feet. Try that one more time. Support and hold for a little bit. And then similar to the front leg, I'm going to just kind of wiggle it back and forth here and do some circles. And I go both directions, usually about 4 or 5 rotations each direction. And then just support the leg. There you go. There, good girl. It's all right. Good girl. Yeah. So I'll give her a break there. We did a lot with that hind leg. She took that, took that in stride, no pun intended. Yeah, shall we try the other side? I'm going to ask her to turn around here. Usually when I'm doing this, I don't ask them to do anything. Even if they start to walk a little bit, I'll usually just stay with them if I can. Because most of the time, if they take a couple steps, they're just trying to work something out. I mean, if you can clearly tell, they've just disconnected from you and, don't care what you're you're doing, well, that's a little bit of a different story. So, you know, you would just gently bring them back into the session and tune them back into what we're doing. But for the most part, they really enjoy this. We'll just stand here as long as you want to do this with them. Yeah. You want to go ahead and turn around? Good girl. A little bit more. Now we're going to the more difficult side. Good girl. So I'll start up here on her forehead and just kind of rub in circles. And then I'll come back to this TM joint. And she's definitely in a better state now that we've done that first side and the raccoons have calmed down. So maybe we'll get a little bit more release on here. And I don't really talk when I'm doing this with them. I mean, it really is like a yoga or a meditation session. You're just sort of tuning into each other and working on a line of communication. Blinking and her head's kind of starting to bob just a little bit. I'm gonna hang in there with her because I think she's still got a little bit of a release here. Get sore, so you can switch if your arm starts to get tired. The really cool thing about this process, this warm-up, is that it'll help fix multiple problems with horses. So for Pepper, it was all about trust, and for her it's about building self-confidence and making that positive association that you're about your touch and your contact with them. They really are they're so sensitive. So this has really taught me too, like how to quiet myself with them. Good girl. I'm just gonna bring now that she's brought her head down, I'm gonna bring my finger right to her pole behind her ear. But yeah, so it really has made me more sensitive and tuned in with them, and I can read them so much better now. So it really helps diffuse a situation before it even begins, which is really nice. Oh, nice big lick and chew there. And I'm on that spot about halfway down her neck where she tends to get tense. Yes. Did that feel good? Okay. We'll keep going. She's a very thick mane, so you really can't see my hand at all, but if I was doing this with a horse for the first time, I mean, this is how slow I would go. Going, Dolly. So that wasn't very helpful, probably. Top of the shoulder here, I'm going to start running my hand down the front of the shoulder. And right here, Juniper, can you come back around there, Dolly? sure. So right here is a really typical spot that they get really tight. This is real close to where their traps tie into their shoulder. So like if you were to relate that to us, like that's like this right here on the top of your shoulder, which at least for me, that feels like it's always tense. So that's another good spot to keep an eye on when you're exploring with your horse. But I'm going to continue down the front of the shoulder here. So now I'm at the point of the shoulder. And hi, darling. So now I'm going to start running my hand down the back of the leg here. Again, in the beginning when you're doing this, as you discover a point where they release some tension, a little reward, you know, if they like being petted on the forehead is great, just to help reinforce that, yeah. Hey, Paul! That's my brother-in-law. Just to reinforce that you did get what you were asking for. But after you do this with them a few times, just the point of release that they get there becomes the reward. So they get that release and then you can just keep moving along their body. So we'll try and ask for that leg one more time, see if we can do a couple of those circles. Good girl. You got it? You can do it. I know. This is her hard side, so I'm going to stick her with it. I'm going to give it back to her. Good girl. So, the thing to keep in mind there is, yeah, she did move her leg, which is not what I wanted. So, I didn't do anything. I just kept holding the leg. And then as soon as she relaxed and stood still, I gave it back to her to tell her, thank you, that's what I wanted you to do. So, try one more time, see if she can be a little more balanced. Oh, but yeah, she feels a little more sturdy here, so I'll kind of just go through the motions here, rocking side to side a little bit. Then we'll do circles in both directions. Okay, and then I'm going to get the lead rope out of our way so neither one of us gets hurt. Good girl. And then we'll do that final, so she's in a really good spot here, I think you can see. So I'm going to support the upper part of her leg, grab the, oh my goodness, that was too quick for me to explain. So I grabbed behind her leg here and supported her fetlock, and she just let her leg stretch right down into my arms. I didn't have to do anything. I was simply there to support her. So, good girl. Now, you can't really see her stance. Maybe if I move forward, but she's standing so much more square now than she was before. So that's a really cool thing. As you start getting this tension out of their body, they're able to return to a better posture. So again, I mean, there's a multitude of benefits to doing this, both mentally and physically, for horse and human. Good girl. Okay. Keep going now. So I'm going to come back to the top of that shoulder, start working down her back. And I like to face forward so that I can watch her responses. Oh, you're doing so good. Leave. Can you stay? Yeah, she turned her ear and blinked right a little bit right on this spot, so I'm going to hang out here for a minute. This is her working something out. Like you can see the wheels turning on her face. She's licking licking and chewing, trying to figure that spot out. Girl. So I'll keep going. And she is a very busy horse in general. So that was another reason I wanted to do this too, was just to help her be relaxed in the moment and not anticipatory or bored. Good girl. Okay, so she just licked and chewed while I was on her lumbar. That was really good, so I'll keep going. So now I'm running along those glute muscles up top here. She doesn't typically have a spot here, so I'm just going to keep going. And I'm at like the point of the hip. Yeah, she kind of like, she's just something with her head there. I'm just going to hang out for a second. We're almost done. Okay, I'm going to keep going. Now I'm kind of running along her hamstrings here. So another thing to keep in mind if you are maybe using this to work on them picking up feet, be mindful of where they're having tension because, for example, when I was doing this with Pepper, at first, my hand approaching her hock was putting her over her threshold of being able to work through the problem. So at first it wasn't even about picking up her feet, it was simply about her being okay with my hand running down her leg. So yeah, you always have to keep in mind to limit your expectations and just be clued into what is the horse needing to work on. Now we're approaching her hock here, so I'm going to turn. I'm going to turn around to grab that leg. Yep. Oh, we got an itch. Get it. Stupid bugs. You pumpkin. Alright. So this is her worst leg, just a FYI. So I'm probably not going to ask as much from her on this leg. And that doesn't mean that's how it's always going to be. It simply means I'm listening to her and I'm respecting her limitations. And they catch that. They pick up on that. So in time, eventually, everything just evens out. So. Oh, good girl. That was so nice. Alright, let's see how she is on this leg today. Oh, this is typical. She usually has to take a few steps to get it worked out. I'm just going to stay with her and continue asking the same question until she gives me the correct answer. Good girl. Good girl. Alright, I'll try and do it. Oh, we lost our camera. Get it? I have to do some serious editing here. Oh, yeah, we're back. Oh, so sleepy. That's the best release you can ask for right there, is a horse yawning. Truly. So I'm not going to ask for anything more from that right hind, because she really tried her best there, and that's all I can ask for. And she's way more relaxed now.